There's been more reaction to the Premier's resignation in Melbourne, where we find our reporter Holly Edward-Smith. Holly, some really interesting comments to you yesterday by members of the Victorian public. The full range, the full spectrum of views. What have you picked up today?
Oh, Kieran, it certainly was. Yesterday afternoon, Victorian voters were pretty shocked at the fact that Daniel Andrews had resigned. We were out in the streets only a few hours after he made the announcement. So we broke the news to people yesterday. Then some of the major themes that came out of their memories of Daniel Andrews were his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic, particularly those daily and quite lengthy press conferences. And as you mentioned, here in Victoria, he has certainly been a Premier that has attracted a lot of attention, both positive and negative. He's won the last two elections by landslides, securing pretty comfortable majorities for the Labor Party here. But he's also faced a fair level of criticism, particularly again over that handling and the longest lockdowns that we're seeing anywhere in the world. Today, people still quite shocked that he had stood down. That news is still making its way across Victoria and to Melburnians here. In the CBD, again, plenty of people reminiscing on Daniel Andrews' time in office and letting us know whether they were a fan or not so much a fan.
He's been in charge long enough and there's been plenty of issues in the city, so I think it's time to move on and have some fresh leadership.
I mean, he's been a really large figure in Australian politics.
I'm really upset. I'd love to meet him. I always wanted to meet him. Just all the good people leave.
Typical. When the proverbial hits the fan, they're out. No accountability.
It was a bit of a surprise, but he's worked a long time. He's worked very hard. I think he's done a great job.
Now, Kieran, we have just heard from Simon there that there could be a few contenders to take over from Daniel Andrews and still some uncertainty about when that decision and announcement will be made. But for the past few months, well before Daniel Andrews made this announcement, Jacinta Allan, serving as the Deputy Premier, had been called the Premier in waiting. And today we took to the streets of Melbourne to just ask people, showing them this photo, to see whether or not they may recognise someone who could become their next Premier.
Not a name.
Yeah, I know the name. I don't recognise the picture though. No.
Is that just Allan? Yes.
Please don't test us.
No test.
I do recognise her face. Don't ask me her name. Is that really embarrassing? Probably.
No, we've had a few people not know.
Yeah, who that is? I'm English. Oh, Allan. Don't know.
So, Kieran, some uncertainty there about putting a name to a face when it comes to Jacinta Allan, but there could still be plenty of time for Victorians to become familiar with her or other MPs like Ben Carroll before a decision is made by the Labor caucus. Still up in the air about when all of this will come to fruition, but we'll certainly be keeping a close eye.